So this is my Trouble Vex build with no Jacob's throwing knife and no Bloodletter. No green skill tree at all. Really what I was trying to do is I was trying to see if I could use what is in my opinion the worst skill tree, the red skill tree, Trouble skill tree, and make it viable and strong enough to do any of the content in Ultimate Vault Hunter 5. As you see from that opening clip, I think I've accomplished that, so let's get straight into it. First I'll go over the skills. As you see, I put everything into red. You can spread out the points a little bit. There's obviously some early points in blue to get 15% gun damage, but this was more of a, can I put all 49 points into Trouble skill tree and still do some of the hardest content in the game? So take a screenshot here. You can copy these points if you want, but I'll explain a couple things here. There's some little stuff like movement speed and damage reduction. There's added elemental damage, which doubles to 40% when you use your action skill. And then I'm actually using a lightning weapon, a pretty strong lightning weapon, so I got all three of these nodes here. And then some more bonus damage for using a rep kit. But the main part I want to talk about is the capstone. This capstone is going to mark an enemy. It's going to be a pretty decent sized purple circle on the torso of the enemy that Trouble's marking. Just shoot that enemy and you'll get all these bonuses. And then the other main part is the Yule and Bay passive, which every time you command Trouble, you'll get additional 25% gun damage. Now personally, I'm using Blink Strike. It is the second fastest cooldown of all the augments. Both Blink Strike and Beast Mode have 25-second cooldowns. The rest are like 35, 45 seconds. Technically, the fastest one is Violent Outburst, because after you call this in, Trouble dies, and then just from Phase Familiar, he comes back, you'll see Trouble respawn cooldowns in 20 seconds. So technically, Violent Outburst is faster at 20 seconds, but Trouble dies, and he won't be on the map anymore, so it's kind of useless, because then you won't have Unsealed. You can use Blink Strike, you can use Beast Mode. The only thing I would say for using Blink Strike over Beast Mode is if you are fighting in an arena with multiple mobs, and you're like trying to kill a badass, or the boss spawns there, and Trouble is distracted with a mob, you can use Blink Strike to bring him back to the boss, so he'll put that mark on the boss, and then you can get the full advantage of using Trouble. So in the inventory, you can kind of run whatever you want. You can ignore the purple weapons, that's just kind of your choice, but for what I've built, you saw that I put all those skill points into the shock elements. There's just so many enemies that use energy shields, and shock is the strongest thing against them, and so I run two complex routes, which you get this weapon from a Mimicron, which you find in the bottom right of the map right here. Just go into this bunker, run through it, and just farm Mimicron until you get this to drop. It's a pretty strong sniper. It is specifically stronger against the Guardians in the Vaults, or just bigger enemies in general, because you obviously see the talent there. The talent Serpency spawns additional diverging projectiles, so you'll fire a bullet and then you'll see these little streamers of smaller bullets surrounding it. All of those bullets do damage. All of those bullets have a chance to crit. It's just a lot of damage coming from one bullet. This is actually one of my favorite weapons in the game that I actually don't see a lot of people talking about, but it's pretty strong, especially when you put it in tandem with some of the nodes that I picked in Trouble skill tree. I do have a Looming Dual-Hand with the Alt-Fire Spread Launcher, which I'm sure a lot of people know. This is like the one-shot shotgun that everyone uses. I don't usually use this. I'm having a lot of fun using the complex route. The main reason I use this, I use the Alt-Fire to deal with the crystal enemies. Instead of shooting at the crystals individually and just pop the spread launcher in it and it destroys all the crystals, then you can switch to the sniper and just kill the enemy really easily. But I'll go through the rest of the equipment. I got a rep kit that has amp and enrage, that's added damage. Again, I'm not using the Jacob's throwing knife on purpose. If you do use the Jacob's throwing knife, this build gets significantly better, but again, this is just kind of proving that you can run something different in the game and still get through the content pretty easily. I don't have a corrosive weapon for the armor, the yellow health bars, so I just run a corrosive grenade. I actually forgot to point out in the skill tree, there's a reason that you want to have 2 charges or more. So every time you throw a grenade, it gives you overshield. So throwing an ordnance gives you overshield. Every time you have an overshield, you do additional 18% damage. So having multiple grenades is nice there. I actually have a level 34 class mod here. I just can't get a level 5 class mod to roll with gun damage and sniper rifle damage. That's all I want from this. The talent is actually pretty useless to me because we're not using a kinetic weapon anyway. This is full elemental elemental damage build, so hopefully I'll get a better one. And when you're looking for class mods, look out for gun damage and sniper rifle damage. I've got an amp shield here. It's actually got recharge delay, which is nice because then I can get back up to full shields and then get another plus 100% gun damage on my shots. And then my enhancement here, obviously it's a torque, so it's not doing anything for my snipers on that passive up top, but the talents down below, I really like this, but ideally I would change out gun reload speed for sniper rifle fire rate. And then the talent that I showed earlier, the blast rights, not only does it give you overshield to increase your damage here, but it also gives you an additional 25% fire rate. So I'm getting 25% from that. I'm getting an additional 25 from this. I believe I've seen a sniper rifle fire rate that increases by another 35%. That would be the ideal rule. Sniper rifle damage, sniper rifle fire rate, gun fire rate. That's what I would hope to find on enhancement if you're looking for it. But I do run traits here. This isn't a high crit damage build, but if you are running the Jacob's throwing knife, then Deadeye will just stack more damage. I actually pay more attention to the high caliber. The round that actually comes out of the complex route is a pretty slow projectile, so the additional 25% projectile speed is pretty nice. You just get that bullet to the boss. And then the last thing I'll go over is the specializations here. So I'm running the bullet train for damage while moving. I'm rocking in the zone, which is just more damage when aiming down sights. And then I have riddle you this, which is additive damage that stacks up to plus 50% gun damage. This is actually extremely easy to get to 50 with this sniper because every single projectile that splits off of the bullet that you see squiggling across the screen, they all each count as their own individual gun damage. So only a couple shots with the sniper and you'll be at full stacks and it'll be extremely easy to maintain it. Now for the last one, I'm running contamination, which isn't terrible. This is obviously a status effect build, specifically shock, but I'm only level 51. If I was level 61, I'd respec and take these 5 points out of killer and put 20 points into survivor, so that I could run 30% more damage when my shield is full, which will be most of the time because as long as you're throwing your ordnance out there, then you're going to have an overshield, so your shield will be full the entire time. Well, ideally I'd run 20 into survivor, 20 into brute, 10 in sharpshooter, and 10 in runner, just so you can get all these skills. But for now I will take the contamination because it is going to imply that shock and corrosion or whatever elements I'm using at the time with that complex route. But ultimately, yeah, that's the build. It's not too complex, and again, you can make it a little stronger by diverting some of these lesser red skills into the blue and green trees. It's just fun to use a different build than just the Bloodletter bleed build that you see all over the place. But that's all I got for you. If you got any recommendations, leave them down in the comments. Thanks for watching. That's all I got for you. Deuces.